All right, so today we got to talk a little bit about Antifa. Now, again, if you talk to some of these more far left types, they're fully on board the Joe Biden Antifa is just an idea. And, I've literally read through some of these far left circles because I like kind of following these people to know what their worldview is and kind of stuff because it's pretty easy to that when you follow these people as close as they follow their kind of people and worldviews, then it's pretty easy to debate them and debunk their garbage. So anyway, I mean the one big thing I've seen too is that I've seen many posts, one of someone in Alberta especially, about how I don't know why people are against Antifa, and again, it just goes to show that this person lives in such an echo chamber. It's not even funny, and that I mean you have Tim Pool here, an avowed Antifa shot and killed a dude in Portland. An avowed Antifa tried firebombing an ICE facility and was shot and killed. Leftist extremists have been looting and burning down buildings. They have been 127 days of Antifa violence. And again, that's just in Portland. So again, this idea that Antifa is just an idea, and here's the argument they come up with is that can I call up the leader of Antifa? Where do I do that? And again, they're completely missing the point in that if you want to run you know a group that does violent things, that does very shady things, I guess to say the least, you're not going to have a recognizable figure that the cops can go arrest in case of someone getting killed or rioting or looting, right? Like how stupid would you have to be to, like, let's just say the, some group that is a very clear hierarchy, who everyone is at the top, right? And that group goes and kills someone. Well, you actually the cops are going to go arrest the leaders and get to the bottom of it, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? Like Antifa's clearly doing it, and that from their perspective, it's hey, we want to riot, loot, and be violent, but we don't want to get caught, right? So of course they're not going to have like leaders, and they're not going to have a Facebook page with the pictures of their leader. Like, how stupid do you think that people are? Like, some of these people are pretty stupid, but they're not that stupid. Like, how stupid would you have to be to post your information to the public and then go be violent? Like, how stupid would you have to be to do that? But this is genuinely what they think their argument is, that if they were actually an organization, they would have that. No, that doesn't make any sense. Not to mention too, they are an organization. Okay, they have Rose City Antifa. They have multiple cities with branded cells. They have, I mean, all of these even have social media pages, but they don't have direct leaders, like I say, because they want to commit violence and get away with it, right? This is exactly why they wear um, all black, and why they wear masks a lot of the time to cover up their faces, because they don't want to be identified. Like, what person in the right mind wants to go riot and loot and commit violence and get caught? Like, seriously, what idiot wants to do that? So again, like, now that we have that debunked, let's get into the other part. The other part being, um, Antifa is just an idea. Again, Antifa is not just an idea. The other part being also Joe Biden. Joe Biden completely lied about them, and what's his name? Chris Wallace didn't call him on it. And this is the thing that really bothered me about the debates, is that one of the reasons why the debates were such, I don't think there was as much of an S show as what, or as bad as what a lot of people are saying. I think that the debates seemed bad because you have a group of people that were getting together to talk that did not mix whatsoever. You have Trump, who is a little bit bombastic. He's not as bombastic as the left would have you think, and what a lot of his opponents would have you think. And for the simple reason that, from you have to understand it from Trump's perspective. From Trump's perspective, the mainstream media is obviously biased against him, right? The numbers clearly back that up. There's no debate on that. Um, and not to mention too, Chris Wallace clearly biased against him. I don't think there's really a debate on that. I don't think I've seen anybody actually willing to argue the opposite there. I mean, the basic fact you need to prove that too is that um, Chris Wallace gave him the whole condemn white supremacy loaded question when he literally asked him the same question in 2016, and at the time he condemned them, right? So again, it was clearly designed to make Trump look bad, knowing that he had done it going back 4 years, right? So again, it was a classic. When did you start or stop or start? When did you stop beating your wife or start beating your wife? Question, right? Like that's a very similar kind of comparison. And the other thing being is that they let Biden lie about tons of stuff. I don't know if they hardly let Trump lie about anything. I mean, like I mentioned before, Trump's ways of I wouldn't say he necessarily lies. Trump doesn't actually lie about that much stuff. Trump likes to exaggerate, right? The good example being Trump said, "Oh, it's the best economy we've ever had." In reality, it wasn't the best, but it was good. It definitely was good, but it wasn't the best. So that's kind of how Trump does things. He doesn't outright lie, he just likes to exaggerate the truth a little bit. Now, that's completely different than actually outright lying. Now, when it comes to Antifa, um, not only did Biden not condemn them, he claimed they didn't exist. Like, Biden did something that was worse than what they're claiming Trump did, which he actually didn't do. Um, Antifa is worse than the Proud Boys. Antifa's worse than any right wing organization right now. Not only did Biden not condemn them, he wouldn't even admit they exist. So again, Biden's coming out of this a lot worse. But again, that's a debate thing. I don't want to get too much into that. But again, Antifa and the Proud Boys are just really in the news a lot. I mean, Antifa especially because of all the violence they've been committing. But again, I wanted to make a video kind of setting the record straight here that Antifa is not. And here's the other big thing too. You always hear too from this is the other stupid argument they bring up is Antifa means anti-fascist. Therefore, if you're against them, that must mean you're a fascist, right? But again, that makes no sense because if the Proud Boys, for example, changed their name to the Anti-Racist Boys, would that change anything? No, that wouldn't change anything. The left would still be accusing them of being racist. So again, it does not matter what you call yourself. What you call yourself it doesn't matter. What your what your actions are dictates the kind of group and the kind of people you are. It does not matter what you call yourself, right? This is the fallacy of either they're dumb enough to genuinely believe that just because a group calls themselves something, then that must mean that that's what they are and what they believe, or they think that the right is dumb enough to believe that, and the right is not dumb enough to believe that. I don't think I know anyone on the right who doesn't recognize what Antifa actually is. It's the people who are more in the middle and are more on the left that don't know what Antifa is. So I think it's just they're genuinely that ignorant that they believe that because they're on the left and they call themselves anti-fascist, that must mean that they're good, and there's nothing that could change their minds. That's I believe what they believe. Again, so anyway, to sum it up, um, Antifa's not just an idea. I mean, they have multiple branded cells. They coordinate riots and protests and looting and a lot of this kind of stuff on a daily, maybe not on a daily. But over the last few months, it has been a daily basis, but on a regular basis, they have literal like Rose City Antifa and Sacramento Antifa, and there's more cities than I can name off the top of my head that have literal branded cells. A lot of them even have social media pages. So again, they are not just an idea, and not to mention too, they are very violent and they are far worse than the Proud Boys or any group on the right. Does that mean that some of these groups on the right are perfect? No, I don't think the Proud Boys are perfect either. By no means do I think they're perfect, but they're a lot better than Antifa because the Proud Boys are not out rioting. The Proud Boys are not out showing up to people who disagree with them politically's houses. The Proud Boys are not threatening mayors, right? Antifa is doing every one of those things, though. So again, Antifa should be one of the most hated organizations, at least non-direct political organizations. But the mainstream media is running cover for them. Joe Biden knows that if he were to condemn them, he would lose some of the far left support. Again, so that's why he doesn't do that. And not to mention, to a lot of these more apolitical people, they don't really know who Antifa is. So that's why they're not overly worried. So anyway, I'm going to leave a video there. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, especially, but also BitChute and Parler. All those links are in the description, so you can find them all there.